Hi, Scott here from SEAT-CUPRA-NET. We're here today with Cupra's brand new Born VZ edition. This is the top spec model. It's fast, 326 PS, 545 pounds of torque, and that's 75% more torque than the previous version of the Born, the non-VZ edition. This car is fun to drive, and we'll get onto that a little bit later. The car costs £47,165. It is very expensive. You pay the premium for electric cars, and is it worth it? Well, I'll let you decide by the end of the video. This car is in green. It's called Dark Forest. I wouldn't personally buy a green car, but a lot of people have said actually they really like the color. I don't know how well it's going to come across in the video, but it's kind of got grey green hues to it. Visually, the car really isn't very different. The VZ edition, and this is actually the VZ first edition, which costs even more than the VZ version. What you get with this edition is the panoramic sunroof. You get the 360-degree cameras, and you also get a heat pump, which I had to look up what that actually does. The heat pump increases the efficiency of the car. It reuses heat from the battery and puts that back into the cooling of the car, and actually increases the range. So the biggest change to the car are these wheels. They're 20-inch wheels. If you want to come and have a look at the design, you've got the alloy here, but increasingly I'm seeing, and they've done it on this car, plastic elements being stuck onto it or clipped onto it. That gives some different design that would probably be quite hard to do in the alloy itself. But you've got these angular arrows, which we've seen on other models throughout the car in the Cupra copper color there. I think the wheels are good. I think tyres are going to be quite expensive to replace at 20-inch, I'd imagine. But that's the price you pay for style. So the back of the car is largely unchanged, the only difference being the VZ badge, which indicates it's the VZ model. You've got the same design. You've got the Cupra badge here, which is also the way you open the boot. That is going to change when we see the facelift of this. That will have the integrated Cupra logo in the light strip, as the same as we've seen on the new Leon and Formentor, and Terramar and Tavascan. And you've got the diffuser along the bottom here in body color. The only thing for me about the back, and it's because I read it on the forum, someone described it as looking a bit egg-shaped. And now I've read that, I can't unsee it. It's the only part of the car I think that just lets it down a little bit. It does look sporty all round, but now I've read about and thought, oh yeah, it does look a bit kind of dumpy. That's kind of stuck with me. It's not bad, but hopefully Cupra can do something with that on the facelift. So we take a look inside. The door is fine. You've got this hard plastic here, soft kind of suede material for resting your arm, which is quite comfortable. You've got your controls for the mirrors, which are all right. They feel a little bit flimsy, but they work. They're not, at least they're not touch buttons, and obviously your controls for the windows. And you've got quite a deep door bin here. There's plenty of space for storing things. Again, Cupra, I don't know why you don't put some kind of felt at the bottom like Skoda do, just to give it that slightly improved premium feel, especially for this price of car. Seems Cupra don't want to do that, but Skoda are quite happy to do that. So maybe we'll see that one day in the future. So if we look here, we've got the control panel for the lights. Generally, you don't need to touch them because you've got auto lights. If you want to turn on your fog lights, you would do that here, but they're not real buttons, unfortunately. They're touch buttons, which are okay. Steering wheel, unfortunately, has capacitive buttons, which I have triggered by accident a few times, in particular these volume controls for the stereo. Not the end of the world, but unnecessary. Luckily, Cupra have kept physical buttons in the new facelift Formentor and Leon. Hopefully the facelift Cupra Born will get physical buttons back, because generally these things are quite frustrating. So as we get into the car, the bucket seats are my favourite part of the car. I know I said that on the Formentor and Cupra Leon review, but they're the same seats and they are really, really good, really comfortable, really striking. And they've got this clever mode where you can set it in the settings that when you get in, it moves the seat back ready for you to get in, because there's quite a high bolster here. And as you shut the door, put your foot on the brake, the seat's now moving back to my driving position, which I think is really cool and really clever. It actually makes it easier to get in and out of the car. The seats are really comfortable and supportive. It took me a while to get them adjusted to the right setting. There's so many different options. You've got lumbar, you've got height, tilt, distance, and actually I found myself a bit uncomfortable at first on a reasonably long drive. And I was worried about that because I'd read another review that was talking about that. But I think I've now got the seats set up for me optimally, and they do have 3 memory settings for them. So If you're sharing the car with a partner, they can have their own settings. I think it's worth taking time to get it right, but I've now got it really comfortable for me, and they are really nice and really figure hugging. I haven't done a massive drive, like a 200, 300 mile trip in it, so it'd be interesting to see if they still give me that comfort. But on the whole, the seats are really comfortable. I do love them, and I can't wait to get them in my next car, whichever one that's going to be. So upgrades to the interior on this model are the bucket seats, which I've talked about. They're just amazing. But also you get the Sennheiser audio system, which is also really, really good. I'm not going to be able to show you the effect of that in the review, but needless to say, it sounds all-encompassing. The sound quality is really good. The volume goes quite loud without distorting on the speakers. Someone who likes listening to music, I'm really pleased with that. That's a really good upgrade. The screen has the new software on it, which has it's been fine. Things are a bit more accessible, so you've got this swipe down menu where you can turn off the annoying speed warning, which of course I don't speed, but sometimes the camera gets it wrong and it warns you that you're going too fast when you aren't. So get into the habit, just swipe that down and turn that off. This seat at the front is set for my driving position. I'm 5'10". I've got plenty of room, head and leg room. Now, in electric cars, generally, because of the batteries in the base of the car, the floor is higher. So my knees are raised up a bit and off the seat. Not a lot you can do about that, but it's still comfortable. What you have at the back here, though, they've skimped a bit in terms of quality. You don't have the same soft velvety armrest that you get in the front of the car. You do have the Sennheiser speaker system, and yeah, the back really is no different from the other Borns. You don't have independent climate control for passengers in the back, which is a shame, but you do have the 2 USB-C charging points there. The boot is manual. There is no electric opening boot, which is a shame considering the price of the car. Hopefully we'll see that on the facelift model when it comes. The boot size is exactly the same as the other Born models. You've got your charging kit, which there is no space for under the floor panel, which means it's just a little bit compromised, unless you obviously have plenty of charge and you don't want to take that with you, but that's a bit of a faff. You've got down here a little folding panel where you can see down in there if you want to take a look in. You've got your tyre refilling kit, and you've got your locking wheel nut and other stuff there. But the boot size is fine. I've managed to get an entire week's worth of shopping in there. So, driving. What a difference. This car feels great. I read some earlier reviews, and I was looking forward to getting in this car, and I haven't been disappointed. Such a difference over the other Born editions. 326 PS, you can feel it, it is fast. And being all electric, that power is instant. There's no gear changes, it just flies. The minute you put your foot down, it pulls. And that is quite addictive. There's no hesitation whatsoever. It does kind of run out of steam a bit when you get up to, well, I can't say higher revs, but when the power goes up a bit at higher speed, it does kind of lose it a little bit. And the instant acceleration is plenty though. They say 300 is kind of all you need. 326, I'll take that, that's fine. Torque, 545 I think from memory, but I do know 75% more torque than the non-VZ Born. That's ridiculous. This is hilarious to drive. I've got an Ibiza CUPRA, which feels like a go-kart in comparison. This isn't far off it. Obviously it's heavier, it's got the batteries, but it is a hoot to drive. I really would happily have one of these cars. Of course, it's a rear-wheel drive car, so around corners you kind of get this push, which is very addictive. So handling is good, power is good. The one area where I think that it's a bit weak are the brakes. They just don't quite have the grunt that I'd expect them to have for a car of this power and weight. Obviously you've got a reasonably heavy car here with the battery, but they just don't bite enough for me. They don't give you that confidence that you want. Don't get me wrong, they're good, but they're not quite there in terms of giving me the assurance and confidence that when I slam on the brakes, and I did have to do an emergency stop earlier, the car was still going and I wanted it to stop sooner. Visibility of the instrument panels and everything is clear. There's nothing obstructing the tiny little unit here. You've got the head-up display. Now, I did notice some bugs on the head-up display, which I have fed back to the press team. First thing is, it's not done it for a few days, but a couple of days into having the car, the brightness setting just decided of its own accord to set itself to the lowest, to the point that I could hardly see it. I hadn't touched it, went into the settings, changed the slider for brightness, it made no difference whatsoever. Turned the car off and on again, didn't work either. And it did that for about 24 hours. Next day it just decided I'm going to go back to normal brightness, which was a little bit weird. The second bug, which is a bit more of a problem to be honest with you, is the sat-nav. So I use Android Auto and I use the sat-nav Waze for that. For some reason, whenever there's a right turn up ahead, now let me give you context, step back a bit. On the HUD, when you're using sat-nav, you get these arrows appear and it shows you the direction you're turning. So you get these 3 arrows and they kind of grow as you get closer and they kind of pulsate across. So it gives you an early heads up linked to your sat-nav whether you're turning left or right. Unfortunately, for some reason, best known to the car, it's decided whenever I'm meant to be turning right, it's going to tell me to turn left consistently. So it's pretty useless because I cannot rely on those arrows. So I look at the screen anyway with the sat-nav and listen to the commands if I don't know where I'm going. But yeah, there's a bug there, and I don't know if it's an Android Auto bug or a bug with the car. I'm going to blame the car. Sorry, Cupra. But it shows the arrows in the wrong direction. So those are the only 2 software bugs I've found. Other than that, it's been okay. The infotainment screen is clear and easy to use. It's definitely, the software has been improved over the version I've seen in the Cupra Formentor before, and this will be the same version of the software as we have in the new facelift Formentor and Leon. Range of the car is 372, well, up to 372 miles. Obviously, how you drive it and the temperature and all those other things will depend on whether you actually see that range. Now, I've been driving 99% of the time in Cupra mode because it's the most fun. I've had a reasonably heavy foot, but I haven't been watching the battery and worrying that it's just depleting before my very eyes. It feels similar to my car, my Ibiza, in terms of petrol usage or fuel usage. And yeah, the range, they've definitely improved the range on this, and you've got the heat pump tech, which you get, as I said, with the VZ first edition only, that improves the range a little bit further. But yeah, the range, I haven't had range anxiety. I haven't gone on a long journey, to be fair, but I'm confident that this is plenty for most people. So overall, I think Cupra have done a really good job with this car. I really like it. It's a hoot to drive. For a performance electric vehicle, it's fun. It's really good fun. As I said, the brakes could do with a little bit more bite. The power is plenty. The handling is significantly improved over the other Borns. There's some software bugs that need to be fixed, but overall, yeah, I think Cupra definitely have done a really good job with this one. I'm interested to see what comes with the facelift version of the VZ, which is probably going to be, I'd guess, 3 years away, maybe 4 years as the final run out. Maybe we'll see a little bit more power. Maybe they could push it to 380. That would be fun, or 400 even. Definitely would need to uprate the brakes for that. I'm just speculating here. We don't have any information of that, but when we do, we will be sure to tell you. But back to this car, yeah, Cupra have done a bloody good job. Definitely recommended. If you can get a test drive in one, take it out. You will not be disappointed. You'll probably be hooked and end up wanting to buy one, to be honest. So that's it from me. I hope you found this review helpful. Be sure to subscribe. We will have more video reviews coming soon from Cupra and SEAT. And if you're not already on our website, we are the largest SEAT and Cupra community. Join us at SEAT-CUPRA-NET. We'd love to see you there. Until next time, thanks for watching. Hi, Scott here from SEAT-CUPRA-NET. We are here with the brand new CUPRA Born VZ edition, and there's a plane going over. Hi, Scott here from SEAT-CUPRA-NET. We are here today with the brand new CUPRA Born VZ. CUPRA Born, start again.